What is up, guys? Welcome back for another Keep It Hoot video. Hope everyone is doing well. So on Monday, the Knicks beat the Hawks 113 to 108. Julius Randle had 28 points, 17 rebounds, and 9 assists. And Barrett had 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. Emmanuel quickly had 16 off the bench, and Austin Rivers, Alfred Payton, Mitchell Robinson, and Kevin Knox all had big moments. It was a big comeback win after being down 15 at one point. And look, I'm going to come out and say it. The Knicks actually look alright. And I was super happy about the preseason. I even made a video on it. I'll have the link to that above. But yeah, I was optimistic coming into the season. But a lot of that optimism was about the players and the overall feel of the team. And I even said in that video, I still didn't expect the Knicks to win a lot of games. Well, props to one, Tibbs, and two, the players, because they're playing really well right now. And look, I understand. It's been 7 games, and that teams like the Cavs are even playing well. And that teams like the Bucks, Nets, Heat, and Raptors are all struggling. And I'd put my money on all of them finishing better than the Knicks. That being said, if you guys know anything about the Knicks or what it's like to be a Knicks fan, a good 7-game stretch can actually be something to get excited about. Before we get started, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you guys could follow our social media pages, we'll follow you back right now. Links in the description below. But yeah, okay, so at the center of the way we are playing is Julius Randle. And I have to take a moment in this video right now to admit that I was one of many people that wanted Randle out at one point or another and was disappointed with the way he played last year. Now, I never thought Randle was a bad player, but given the situation of the Knicks and their window and the young players they had and playstyle, it just didn't seem to make sense. Well, Randle right now, you could argue, is in the MVP conversation. He's averaging 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists a game on 51% shooting from the field and 40.7% from 3. You can still nitpick his game. I still think he takes some bad threes, and his 5 turnovers a game is pretty bad, and his defense isn't elite by any means. But he's also playing a career-high 38.4 minutes, a credit to him getting in shape, and also in part to Tibbs loving to play his starters heavy minutes. And that probably does have an impact on his increased numbers, but he still has been playing really well. I mean, he's just in control more, he's more patient, really looking for guys and doing a better job of using the other team's defensive schemes to stop him against them. I also made a video about why Randle's been playing well, so check out the link above for that. But yeah, I mean, he's been super impressive, and the crazy thing is he's been posting a crazy high 32.8 assist percentage, which is the percentage of your teammates' shot you assist on while you are on the floor. So that's almost 1/3, right? And he's also doing this with a lower usage rate than he had the last 2 years. So he isn't hugging the ball, putting up bad shots. And part of that jump in assist ratio with similar usage rate is because the team overall is shooting better and just playing better overall, right? And that gets to my next point. There are some stats I wanted to look at for the team in general. So with the strong shooting, the Knicks are actually 10th in the league in 3-point percentage. And it's really because the Knicks don't really have any guys that are known as elite shooters. Kevin Knox is solid, Reggie Bullock is solid, and Randle, as we mentioned, is shooting 40%. But that 10th in the league 3-point percentage is also with RJ missing like 21 threes in a row at one point, right? But yeah, that's crazy. The high shooting percentage from 3 is really impressive, and granted, they don't shoot a lot of threes, but it wasn't something I saw coming into the season. Another thing to note, they are 21st in assists per game. That is pretty low, partly because besides Randle, Payton, and Barrett, the Knicks really don't have many players or any players that can get other players' shots, which is fine, but definitely something to keep an eye on. That being said, teams like the Rockets, Blazers, and Mavs are lower than the Knicks currently, and they are considered to have good offenses, so maybe this doesn't hurt them too much, but with the lack of guys who can create, this could end up being a problem down the road. That being said, I will say the Knicks offense looks a lot more fluid with more player and ball movement. Last year, guys got fed up, especially with Barrett and Randle at times for the lack of ball movement, and Tibbs has preached playing team basketball on both ends of the floor, and it has really shown. But it has really been the play on the other side of the ball that has been almost as surprising as Randle's play. The defense. I mean, the Knicks have been, for the better part of the last 2 decades, a really bad defensive team. Stars would come into games against the Knicks and have 50-point games, 40-point triple-doubles, and it was really bad at times. From the switch everything Mike Woodson days to just having no defensive-minded players on rosters at times. I mean, I came into this year thinking the defense would definitely be improved. I mean, Tibbs has made a career out of being a defensive-minded genius. He was an assistant coach and tasked with a lot of the defensive scheming on Doc Rivers' Celtics teams, the one that won the ring with the Big Three, and then went on to Chicago, where he led one of the league's best defenses for numerous years. He's always been about defense, and that seems to still be the case. That being said, I didn't think the improvements and the defense in general would be this much better. The Knicks right now have the 10th highest defensive rating in the league and have given up the 7th least amount of points per game. What is even more impressive about this is the fact that they're doing this while giving up the 11th most second chance points and the 5th most points off of turnovers. So their half-court defense is really good. If they don't turn it over and they don't give up second chance points, if they can, just get the rebound, their defense has been really good. If you watch their games, they are really active in playing the passing lanes and not just going for steals per se, because they don't average a lot of steals, but just having deflections, having a hand up, and just making the passes harder. And the effort is just different. Guys know that if you want to get playing time on a team coached by Tibbs, then you really need to play hard and defend. Guys are being held accountable, and their defense has been very solid this year. And all those stats are after playing Milwaukee, who is first in points per game, the Hawks, who are fourth, and the Pacers, who are seventh. So it's not like they've just been playing a bunch of bad offensive teams. They're playing teams who are good offensive teams, and 2 of those 3 games I just mentioned, they actually won. Or 2-2, because they're 1-1 against the Pacers. They lost to Milwaukee. And then they beat the Hawks, right? So, but yeah, the offense may falter at times, and Randle's numbers may go down as well. But defense and effort are the 2 things you can control on a nightly basis. And if Tibbs can keep them playing this way, then I think that's a good sign. And I know the culture is an overused term at times, especially in sports, but it really does seem like Leon Rose and Tibbs are finally starting to establish said culture. It's one we haven't seen in around this franchise in a really long time. And part of that is the vets. Besides Randle, Payton has been playing well, and I know people want to see quickly, but we'll get to that later. And Bullock is a guy that'll always try and provide experience and leadership. And even, you have guys like Austin Rivers, who has been really solid so far, and even better than the numbers say. His impact on the team the last couple of games have been larger than I expected. And to all those Knicks fans, don't forget about Alec Burks. He may not even end the season as a Knick, but he started the season with a pair of 22-point games. So once he gets back, it'll be interesting to see what Tibbs does with the rotation, because most of the time he only goes about 8 deep. And now we get to the young players, the thing that had Knicks fans hyped up after the promising preseason. So RJ Barrett has been playing pretty well, averaging 18 points, 7 assists, and 3 assists, which are all improvements from last year. His shooting splits 40% from the field and 23% from the three-point line are pretty bad. But his free throw percentages has been pretty good. It went from 61% last year to 78% this year. So that tells me the shooting should be fine, and that with time and better shots, hopefully the shooting percentages from the field and 3 get better. The aggression, I love it, and more rebounds and more assists are great again. And part of that is due to the increased minutes. He is averaging 38.7 minutes a game, which is an 8-minute increase from the 30.4 last year. But his defense does look better, and Tibbs has continued to praise him and talked about how good he thinks RJ can be in the future. Another impressive thing is that the increased numbers he's getting are coming even with a lower usage rate and lower turnover rate, so very good to see there. Quickly has only played 3 games, but looks better with each game, and it might not be long before Quickly takes the starting role, and I know that's what a lot of Knicks fans want. I wouldn't be against it. I know that's something I talked about in the preseason video as well, and that might be the ultimate dream for, again, Knicks fans and even the front office. But regardless of how that pans out, Quickly really does look better every game, and he looks better than he was advertised coming out of college. Right? He seems like one of those Kentucky players who sacrificed numbers and showcasing his talent for his coach and the team, because he's a guard that really can do a little bit of everything, and he's shown it. He defends well, he can shoot the 3, is automatic from the line, and what's really impressive is he knows how to get to the line, which is something, a rare trait for many young players. He has a nice floater to go along with his above-average passing and playmaking. And his average of 10 points, 1.3 rebounds, and 1.3 assists might not look amazing, but those who've watched the games know, and don't be surprised if his numbers continue to rise. Knox is another player whose numbers won't blow you away. They're similar to what they were last year. 6.6 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, and 1.3 assists per game. But he's already had some really nice moments, and while his career as a Knick may come to an end after this season, he is playing 22 minutes per game, so they are at least giving him a chance and letting him go prove his worth. Obi Toppin being injured has sucked for the Knicks and even for the league, so we can't really say much on that. He did look iffy in terms of three-point shooting and defense in the preseason, but he obviously has a lot of potential, and he showed that in college last year and even already had some moments in the preseason. So he's another guy that, along with Burks, that can help this team once they return. The only fear for Knicks fans is that given that Thibs likes to keep his rotation on the shorter side, when Burks and Toppin comes back, then what will the rotation look like? Someone's going to be left out. We already have seen Frank Ntilikina and Dennis Smith Jr. get relocated to DNP duty. So who's it going to be? Or will the guys who are coming back have to wait their turn while Tibbs keeps rolling with the guys he has now? Tibbs obviously still wants to win. and he's going to reward the guys who's been playing well, so that'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on as well. Regardless, man, as you know, if you've seen our other videos or our channel, our social media, we cover all things NBA, but I am a Knicks fan. And again, it's just 7 games, but after 2 weeks of the season so far, I'm not going to lie, even if you take away the records, some of the stats, and the way the Tibbs has them playing has been really nice to see. That'll do it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share, like, and comment, and go check out our social media pages. Links in the description below. If you follow them, we will follow you back right now. And check out our Steph Curry video we did on Monday as well. We'll be back with another video on Friday, so stay tuned. And thanks, guys. See you.